I'm just a stay-at-home dad that does it on his own time, on his free time, whenever I feel like it, honestly.
Yeah.
And which is great because it just gives me that freedom to be able to mod and create stuff on my own time.
Hello, my fine feathered friends. Welcome back to the Bird's Eye View podcast. I'm really excited about today's episode because today I'll be talking to Sandi, mod author extraordinaire, who has over 90 million downloads across all of his mods. He has made mods for 3 different games so far: Ark Ascended, Hogwarts Legacy, and Inzoi. In Ark Ascended, he's the creator of Quantum, Arcadian, Cozy Cabins, Flora Moderna, and Modern Structures custom cosmetic sets, among over 50 others, with more to come. This is why I call him the Custom Cosmetics King. We'll get a sneak peek later into his next one, which is coming out soon. We'll hear about how creating mods has gone from a simple hobby, making pretty things for his daughter to use in the game, into a small business that's made it possible for him to be a full-time, stay-at-home dad. Later in the episode, I'll also go over some questions viewers have asked me, and indulge in some hot takes and a little bit of ranting here and there. But we'll talk about the host tether, whether or not it is a conspiracy just to make people rent Nitrado servers. We'll talk about some of the background scuttlebutt behind Ark and Snail Games and what got us into the situation that we're at, and what makes Ark different from other games. We'll discuss all of that, and then we'll end the episode with a little pep talk from your mama bird. So let's get started.
How long have you been making mods for Ark?
A year and 2-3 months, something like that.
Wow, you must be a fast learner.
Yeah.
So how long have you been playing Ark?
Ark, I've been playing it almost since it came out.
Oh, really?
Back in the day, yeah. And then I used to play with my daughter a lot, so that's kind of where it all started for the modding scene for me.
Awesome. How old is she?
She's 10 right now.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah. So did you play ASE with mods?
No.
No?
We never did, yeah.
Yeah,
so we took advantage that when ASA came out, we started like playing around with the mods. And we found that, okay, maybe there's things missing that we want to include in it, add on to it. And so I took it upon myself to started with structures for her because she likes, she plays with the Tokaboka type of games a lot, and she likes building an Ark a lot. She likes making fancy houses, and there was a lot lacking in Ark, as you can remember when we started. So I just started creating plaster structures and stuff like that because she wanted the modern look for it, so that's kind of where it all started, and it just trickled up from there.
Just kind of snowballed, huh? That's awesome. So what are your thoughts on ASA versus ASE, comparing them? Because I know some people are still playing ASE and they claim that, it's just a little bit of a graphics upgrade. It's still the same game. It's still the same content. It's like, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm a little biased, I think, just because I wasn't able to play with mods when ASE was on, because I was a strictly console player, And for ASA, I managed to snag a good computer, and I started playing ASA with that. And I ended up playing with the mods, and obviously the graphics is nothing compared to ASE to ASA,
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's the same concept still, the same idea of the game, which is what keeps people coming back, just coming to the building factors, the breeding factors. I know a lot of people who just breed all day. That's all they do. And other people who just build all day, and that's all they do. And but if you want to, I guess, look at it at the fact that it's for the breeding players and people like that just play for PvP purposes, I guess, it's ASE is great because you don't need all the fancy graphics, but if you're a builder, obviously you want all the nice looking graphics, all the nice skins, all the nice structures, so you want to be able to create something more than just the basic idea, even if you're one of those great builders that doesn't require mods at all, it's still a big difference in the graphic wise, what it looks initially for ASE and ASA,
Oh,
So
yeah.
I would say I prefer ASA way more than ASE, obviously, for that reason itself.
Same. I mean, there were a lot of things you could do with ASE building, but it was so very janky. There were so many things you had to work around continually. And yes, you could exploit all the jank and make it do things it was never intended to do, but it was very frustrating at the same time as well. And it was difficult to learn. There was kind of a high bar to entry, it felt like,
Yes.
There was a lot of people who really struggled and were very frustrated with building in ASE. And then in ASA, we've had this explosion of people building awesome creative things because they're able to without having to look up a tutorial first. They're able to just mess around and figure stuff out. And then the custom cosmetics add so much to that as well, with being able to change up the way it looks. I think that it's mostly PC players who are saying, oh, it's the same game, whatever. For console players, being able to play with mods, that's a game changer.
The game changer.
Complete, yeah. So yeah, some players have accused Wildcard of only making ASA as a money grab. Do you think there's more to it than that? Or do you...
I guess it kind of started as an option for them to be able to just keep going, honestly, keep going, keep making ASA Arc 2, which is the plan that it's where they're leading to, and they've been able to expand into the animated series and all that, and which is fantastic. And I don't think it's honestly a cash grab. It's just taking advantage of the new engine.
Yeah.
That's available. They're just taking advantage of the new engine. They're trying to push that game even further because there's a lot of people that, let's say, for example, in ASC, you would if you were part of the architect situation thing with all the builders, how they would all build massive structures. Yeah, they would build massive structures, and they would go crazy with all the snap points and stuff. But at the same point, you reach to a point where your console just could not take it anymore, and that was due to the engine that it was running on.
Yeah.
And you would walk and you'd just be lagging pretty much every single step of the way, And with ASA, yes, you still get lag, but it's not as bad as before because this new engine provides that option, And I honestly don't see it as a money grab, even though I do make money off of my mods that I'm creating. I don't see it as a money grab for the game itself. It's just giving more players that option to just keep playing that same game that they love without having to suffer from all the lag and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at a certain point, they would need to bring it into the future. I mean, the engine was very old. And yeah, studios need money, right? People have bills to pay. There's paychecks that need to be paid.
Yeah, I was actually recently speaking with somebody about studio situations that are actually going into other mods right now, creating mods of their own in different games just to keep the studio going.
You've done a little bit of that too, haven't you?
Yeah, I have, yes. But there's studios itself, not necessarily Wildcard, but studios, big studios like that are going into other games, creating mods for them just to keep that revenue stream coming in while they produce their actual game, because they do run out of money, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And let's say for ASC, for example, it's nobody's spending money in it anymore because there's really no DLCs or anything coming to it. So they still need that money stream to come in to be able to push the next content, the next best thing,
Yeah, absolutely. So you started out making structure mods. So what are your thoughts on the differences between making a structure mod and making a custom cosmetic? Is the process really different, or?
Yes, it's 100% easier, honestly.
Really?
So
for custom cosmetics?
The modeling itself, obviously, it takes some time. It's still the same situation, but creating the actual into an item, it's like you got to do 3 steps. You got to create the engram, you got to create the primal item for it, plus the blueprint for it. It's just too time consuming because you got to do that for each individual item. Versus a cosmetic, you just create the models and you just put it in one single blueprint, and then you just adjust the height and the location of everything.
Oh yeah.
So it's 100 times easier. Plus. Engrams break a lot. So I can't tell you the amount of times I had to go back in to fix something because there was an update and that update broke it. And I had to go back in, and it just was too time consuming for me to keep moving forward. Honestly, I was just going to keep having to go back and fix that mod over and over. And I always keep getting questions about why don't I just make a mod of my own, And that's basically my answer. Too time consuming. I don't have the time to go back in and create and fix it and fix it and fix it and fix it constantly. it takes away from just my creative process of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't really realize. People talk about, oh, mods need to be kept up to date and you need to update your mods and stuff like that. Well, it's not like mods are not like milk. They don't just go bad over time. The reason why the mods need to be updated is because Wildcard keeps updating, right?
Yeah, and their system changes, so we have to change along with it.
Yeah, exactly. So can you tell me a little bit about your creative process?
Yeah, so let me give you a little bit of backstory. So
okay.
I started modding originally because of my daughter. I was a stay-at-home dad. That's awesome. Wanted to spend time with them, with the kids, and it just came to it that I wanted to create something for her. So I ended up just creating things that she would like, and initially that was my guiding light, I guess. Every time I made a new mod, it was because it was something she needed, something she wanted, or it was to surprise her. To this date, I still throw little Easter eggs and stuff that people don't know about, but they're there for my daughter, and she gets to use them, she gets to play them, and
that's cool.
It's fantastic, And eventually, people do find them, things here and there, which I don't like telling people what's hidden in there unless they find it and they're like, "Oh, this is so cool," and I'm like, "Yeah, thank you, thank you," and that's all I say. I don't say I made it specifically for her, things like that. Nowadays, I do guide myself a lot by the community, what they request, what they suggest. My mod suggestion page is full all the time. I kind of have to go through it and delete it, delete all of the stuff once I do complete it, or if I see that it's something that it's just not doable, or it's let's say it's going to take too many hours just to complete that one specific item, then I'm not going to spend my time doing it because I typically work in the middle of the night. Once the kids are in bed, then that's when I work. I tend to work 10 to 12 typically. Sometimes I do run a little later if I'm like really getting in that creative funk, and I don't want to stop. Then I keep going. That
flow, that state of flow.
Yeah. So I originally stopped working because my daughter suffers from seizures. Not this one, but the older one. So I had to stay home and take care of her. So during the day, that was my situation. I would always take care of her.
That's awesome.
And now that kind of became my schedule. During the day, I don't do anything. I do stuff here and there on the phone during social media, talking to people, connecting with people, things that I got to take care of. And then in the evening, that's when I just sit down and put a YouTube video on, put music, and kind of just listen to it while I work, create, and then I think I found that's the best time to just get creative because nobody's here talking to me. My kids just like they're a little bit of a jibber jabber, they don't stop talking. So yeah, it's and it just gives me that option to be creative, in the middle of the night without
that's great
any disturbances. And going back to the community, they give me ideas during the day. I talk back and forth with them, and then I'm like, okay, that's a good option, and then I go and create it in the middle of the night. So yeah.
Nice. So do you have a background in art other than ARC modding?
No, so I used to work in marketing actually. So I apply my marketing into the way that I push my mods and I work, and I
can see that. Yeah.
I analyze everything very thoroughly. I go through all the analytics that I have available by CurseForge, and I also use social media a lot for it. I don't actually have a big following, but I do go through social media, look up certain keywords and things that I know are going through right now, and then that's how I kind of guide myself by it too.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you take really good screenshots, you have good logos for your mods, you have a lot of information on the mod pages, even for the free ones, which that's actually somewhat unusual. Anybody who's ever browsed the mods list will see that there's a lot of mods in there that have no pictures, that have no description, and, it's like I tell people all the time that it's because people make mods for all kinds of different reasons, right? Some people make them just for their daughter, just for one person,
for themselves, exactly.
Or just for themselves. Or it may be that they are good at coding, but they're not very good at writing descriptions or taking screenshots or other types of things like that. So having that marketing background, I think really gives you an edge in that way, that you can see the importance of all of that stuff. That's really cool.
Yeah, and what's great about me being able to produce the premium mods is that I'm able to hire people to take screenshots, like you, for example. You've taken some screenshots for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hire a film crew to come in and just record something. I hire somebody to build me something. I kind of just give them the general idea of what I want, where I want it to lead, and then I leave it all to their creative process, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very open for people to just to do what they feel and what they see that's right. And then if they need changes, then I'll let them know. But typically I trust most of the people that I've been working with, and they nail it. I
That's
just
awesome.
give very little feedback. Yeah. And it's great because it's a lot of people who are actually invested in the game, that they've actually been spending time in the game, that they played it, they know it. So it gives them the option to just like make some extra money, you know, from it.
Sure.
Just like it's giving me the option to make extra money from just creating stuff for them.
And what other games have you made mods for? I know there's been a couple, right?
Yeah, so I've made mods for Insoy. I've made mods for Hogwarts Legacy. I started working on Fortnite recently, and I'm looking into Roblox because that's the game that my daughter's into right now. So I want to just go in and create something if it allows me. It's a little different just because the graphics alone and the system that they use is differently, you know. But I guess it's going to be a learning curve for me.
Okay. So, what do you wish that the average ARC player would understand about ARC mods? Are there questions that keep coming up all the time that you keep answering the same question over and over?
Yeah, so the number one question is why can't I add this to my Nitrado page? A custom cosmetic, and people don't understand that it's a custom cosmetic, even though I have like in big red letters there, this is a custom cosmetic. It does not get added to your server list. But people don't read descriptions.
People don't read, period.
They don't read, they don't look at pictures. They will just look at the mod icon and be like, oh, that looks cool. So that's why I have to put a lot of emphasis into the mod icon itself, you know, or the original featured pictures, and then they go from there, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number one question that I get. Like, why can't I add it to my server? And I'm like, it's a custom cosmetic. Just download it and use it anywhere you want. That's my go-to answer to everything. And then the number two thing that I get is broken file. Oh, that broken file, man.
Oh,
it's so dreadful. I get a complaint about it at least 5 times a day.
Oh, jeez.
And they always say it's just your premium mods, and I'm like, nothing I can do about it. It's your system. I have like written step-by-step processes, even for PC, for every single system.
Yeah.
I have different instructions, and
I've shared your instructions with people before, and and then I made a video last summer about that, and then, you know, the last podcast episode about that. It's been an ongoing issue for quite a while.
And they do seem to fix it, but then something else pops up, you know. And I think a lot of the thing that's the factor of it is some sort of code that's in there. I don't know if it's because of a mod that came in, like a custom cosmetic that came in with the code, and that kind of is affecting everything else, changing the actual JSON files for other mods. Or it could just be the CurseForge itself that's having that issue, something in their system, you know.
Yeah.
And I went through the JSON file and kind of looked through it, and I just couldn't find.
Yeah.
I found exactly how to change it from invalid to valid, but further than that, I can't figure out how it's actually producing that every single time, because it seems to happen when somebody downloads the game dynamically originally, and it struggles to change it from an invalid purchase to a valid purchase, you know, and that's kind of where it stays in limbo.
Yeah. I don't think it's, you know, I'm no expert, but I don't think it's related to the custom cosmetics specifically, because I have seen it happen before with Dino mods or structure mods, you know, map mods, all different kinds of mods. The only common denominator that I've seen is it does tend to happen more for the larger mods. And my theory about why that is just because they take longer to download. Because, I mean, I can reproduce that error 100% accuracy. I mean, if you wanted a broken file, I can give you a broken file in 30 seconds. All you got to do is interrupt the download.
Yeah.
And it breaks it every time. And so it seems like if it's dynamically downloading in the background and then someone gets timed out, or
then it'll stop.
Then it'll get broken, and then they've got the invalid file, and then they have to figure out how to get rid of that in order to actually buy the mod and download it properly.
Yep.
Right? But that does seem like it's something on CurseForge's side, though. Like, why is it that they can't, most programs, most other things like Steam, if a download gets interrupted, it can just pick it up where it left off. Why does it have to break the file?
Why does it have to re-trigger it as a new one? Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be the issue at hand, that it should just restart at the same option, same location, but I guess it goes back to, when you download a game on Steam, it processes it, and then it takes a while to restart the download, even if you come back and you just select to restart it. I don't know if you noticed that it just takes forever to start downloading.
Longer, yeah.
It might be the same process that's basically happening here, that it's just
it would be worth waiting.
Yeah. Yeah, but since a lot of people don't wait just for the full download to go through, and a lot of the times as well, they don't know that the download's coming through because it's hidden dynamically going in the background,
Yeah.
just by swinging by it. So
yeah,
it's been a hassle so far.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, the dynamic downloading is really cool, how you can see the cosmetics other people are using without having to use them yourself, but it does seem like it's also creating a lot of problems. And
it is, yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's helping to get all these mods out there, honestly, all the
for sure
custom cosmetics out there, because people are able to see them.
Yeah.
And then there's no point in you buying something as somebody, or downloading something if nobody else can see it, so it gives that great option of just, it's on a marketing standpoint, everybody's able to see your product, honestly, and if it's for free, it's great. I don't think my quantum mod would be as successful, if it wasn't due to the dynamic downloads, just because initially when they came in, they were bright. If you didn't have the lumen, they were bright. So I think that kind of attracted a lot of people to look at the mods and to actually go into the details, and then adjust their settings to adjust for the mod itself, and I did eventually change the lighting a little bit so it wouldn't be as bright. Although a lot of people complain because they like the brightness,
Any
they
change,
like the brightness of it,
somebody's going to complain.
And originally I was a big fan of the brightness, I like the lighting, the brightness of it, because it just produced that lighting factor, especially in Aberration where it's so dark, it gave that great option of, okay, you have free lighting instead of having to install here, and whatnot,
and create lag from that.
For everybody, exactly. It just produced its own kind of lighting versus the lighting that an actual lamp or a torch would get,
Yeah.
And I see the downsides to it, but at the same time, I see the great benefits of just the dynamic system itself.
For sure. It just needs to be fine-tuned. They need to fix some things in it. And one thing that I think would probably help a lot, that would make a difference, and I don't know if this would have to be Wildcard's side or CurseForge's side, but currently, if you've dynamically downloaded a premium custom cosmetic and that's broken, and so you have an invalid file, there's no way to uninstall it without buying it, but then you can't buy it because it's broken. And that's it. Yeah. And there's no way to just uninstall it. They need to add some kind of an uninstall button for the custom cosmetics, because for the free ones, you can hit install and then you can hit uninstall to get rid of a free custom cosmetic that you didn't want, or that's a broken file or whatever. But the only way that people can do that with the premium ones is to uninstall all mods, or to dig in the files if they're on a PC and find that mod file and delete it.
Yeah.
Which, there's got to be a better way. There's just, What's a misconception about mods or modding that you've run into with players?
I think the biggest one is that we have all the time in the world just to fix stuff, everybody wants everything done then and there, They don't understand that I do have a family, I have kids, I spend all my day with them, and then in the evening, that's when I actually sit down and work. And obviously it's not going to happen every day, because I do get tired. I'm on the older side, so it's I need my rest. So I think that's a big misconception with a lot of people, just thinking that, okay, you should be able to just fix it because you created it, And a lot of the times as well, it's I do hire out a lot of the times to create some sort of code. So I do have to reach out to them and be like, okay, can you adjust this? Can you fix this? This is what they're requesting. And then I have to wait on them. And then I take it to my side and then I do my part on it and then I fix it and upload it, And then as well, I go through a good testing process because I don't want to release something and then get a million comments that it's broken, this is broken, and it just looks bad on myself and just the comment feed, I guess. Everybody saying that this is broken, and unfortunately it still happens because of the whole broken file issue, so I get that same comment over and over, and I'm like, can you go to my Discord please? That's where I can talk to you better. You can share pictures, and a lot of times they don't like going to Discord. They just want to handle everything there. And I'm like, I understand that, but there is only so much I can do to communicate here. I know CurseForge is working on being able to just fix their messaging system and add a little more to it, but during the meantime, I kind of have to guide them over there, or even to my socials or anywhere else that I can just communicate them with them easier, because I don't know if with CurseForge currently, you don't really get alerts when you get a new message or anything.
Oh,
you have to actually go and activate the notifications for each single mod. And as you could imagine, I have so many mods. So I don't have it turned on for every single one, So I prefer it if they just join my Discord and I can help them there quick. It only takes seconds to answer there versus
I'll make sure to link
waiting.
I'll make sure to link your Discord in the description.
Yes, please.
Yes, definitely. And one thing I've been surprised by is how many players just assumed that modders work for Wildcard. And they just assume that they're professional game developers and this is their full-time job and they work for Wildcard.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're not. Not at all.
Yeah.
No, I'm just a stay-at-home dad that does it on his own time, on his free time, whenever I feel like it, honestly.
Yeah.
And which is great because it just gives me that freedom to be able to mod and create stuff on my own time, And there's some great, fantastic modders out there that have created a lot of cool stuff for the game itself, and then it gets applied into the game. And we always joke around about how Wildcard stole our idea, like a lot of that happened with the mod that I created with there and the Western decor, and then it just kind of, they took ideas from it, it seemed like, and they added it into their bobtails and other items, which I mean. We joke about it being like, oh, they're thieves about it, but at the same time, it's just an honor to have our stuff in the actual vanilla game, And just modding itself gives us that option to be able to just add what we want when we want,
And I mean, it is kind of crazy how many modders have ended up getting hired by Wildcard too. Like, a lot of the best things in the game, in my opinion, come from the former modders, like that new ASA building. Orion's son, the S Plus guy was hired by Wildcard,
and then Nakatis, and then Sarthan was just recently hired as well.
As well.
And he's the one that brought the drill thing, right?
Garuga,
Garuga.
And Garuga and all of his creatures. And I swear Nakatis' maps are the best maps in the game.
That's what everybody says. I've only gone into Svartalfheim. I purchased the Astros one, and I just haven't had a chance to jump into it.
Oh, it is gorgeous. It's one of my favorite maps to film on, honestly, and take screenshots because it's really nice and bright. The lighting is amazing. And the colors of the terrain, it doesn't have that muddy yellow, that like on the center in the island, all the rocks are the same muddy yellow color. It's just a lot more. It's just beautiful. It's just a really beautiful map.
Yeah, and it's fantastic to see all these people getting hired on, Recently, somebody started joking and started a thread saying Sandi should be hired for Wildcard to start doing all their structures for Bobs. And I'm like, honestly, I don't think I'd want to, just because it would limit me, It would. Recently, the last mod that it came out with had 750 items in it,
Yeah, the Flora Moderna.
so
that one's a masterpiece.
And I was able to crunch it up into only 500 megabytes for consoles, which it took 9 months just to get all that done.
Oh wow!
It was a while, yeah. But But mods like that, I wouldn't be able to actually bring into the game, if I were to be working for Wildcard, because I'm limited to whatever that they want, the idea that they want, plus only the certain items that they want, because they don't want to overdo it as well.
Yeah.
And their stuff is really good. But the Bob's Tales, the Western one, that one's one of my favorite structure sets, honestly.
Yeah, it is a gorgeous structure set.
I still see a lot of people using that structure set, which is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that
Moderna, though. I mean, what really inspired that set? Because it's a really interesting mix of kind of like old world plus
Victorian,
new Victorian plus new stuff, but it all works. It really works together really well. You can mix and match between all those different sets and end up with something unique that looks cool.
So I live in San Diego in California.
Okay.
Yeah, and downtown there's the Gaslamp Quarter. And that's basically where I inspired myself from. I went one day with my daughter. I walked around there with, well, not my daughter, but my family. We were just walking around, It was during that time that Comic-Con starts, so it was just full of different decorations,
Oh,
and
wow.
I like the Gaslamp Quarter itself, the buildings, the architecture there. And that's kind of where I got it myself. I took a bunch of pictures and I kind of designed a lot of the models according to the designs that were there, it's that kind of
so cool.
Yeah, that old city look, but still vibes with the whole new look of it, because it's mixed. They have the new buildings, the old buildings, and it just looks beautiful over there. So that's kind of where I guided myself with, and I kind of just went from there, and I just started adding more and more and more stuff, and I saw some like little cafes here and there, and I got the idea for these little table designs, these little chairs, and like the velvet chairs, the velvet sofas. You saw those everywhere. And I'm like, yep, that's where I'm going with that.
Absolutely.
So that's how I guided myself with that mod. The other ones, they kind of just came up, and like sometimes I go into just CG Trader or Fab, and I look at different designs that they have there, or like sometimes they have just a simple panel or something, and then I take that panel, I break it apart, I split up all the models and the meshes, and then I create my own thing out of it, and that's kind of what I've been doing recently with the sci-fi mod that I'm working on. And it's honestly been a lot of fun.
Working on Quantum 2 or something here?
Yeah, so it's Nebula is the name that they called it, that they ended up on, and it's coming out pretty nicely so far. It's got more of a spaceship vibe to it, so it's
very fun.
I think people are gonna enjoy playing around with it. It's so I started it maybe like a month and a half ago, and I have 11 structure sets on it now.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah,
nice.
I work very fast.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Do you still have time to play Arc for yourself, or do you mostly just make and test the mods?
I mostly make and test the mods nowadays. I do sit down and play with my daughter. Especially a lot recently, she's been wanting to build and breed. So we started a little shack on Aaron's server. Actually, we started.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and but she's used to playing with the GCM, obviously, so she likes
little
just
spoiled,
just being able to put out stuff quickly. So I'm over there grinding, getting all the materials for her, and she's able to just skin everything, and create the walls and the structure. So yeah. I get to play it every once in a while, but for the most part, I have testers who actually go in the game and do everything. This way, I'm not spending my time here and there and splitting it too much, where I think sometimes testing honestly takes longer than the actual creative process of it. And I kind of just lose those juices, I guess, while I'm testing stuff out, looking, and as well as I have to spend all this time adjusting every single piece, to the height, to the location, and then sometimes they're too big, too small.
Yeah,
the angle's not right. And I recently had a friend who started doing that for me, which has been a great help.
Awesome. Yeah,
I give him a little fee for it, and he takes care of that while I actually create all the modeling. So I'm slowly creating a team of itself. And recently I actually I started working on the Insoy mods, and I got into contact with a couple of people who actually came from The Sims. So you see a lot of Sims inspiration in my recent mod, because I had them create actual models for me, and I put them in. There's like a close rack that somebody created, and I really like that close rack that's in there. Yeah,
nice.
And there's a couple other pieces in there that modders for The Sims brought in and created. They had already created some of those models in The Sims and other games, but they kind of sold them to me, I guess, working for me. And then we I just put it all out in the floor modder mod. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, and even if you did test things yourself, that would just be one setup, one situation. You definitely need a lot of testers, right? Because every rig is going to be different. Every situation is going to be different. I mean, I give Red Dwarf a hard time a lot because, he's got this amazing computer. A lot of modders have amazing computers. It's like, well, what about somebody with like a 5-year-old gaming laptop? Are they going to be able to run this the same way? And consoles and everything else.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is that you do have the option to change the settings in the actual developer kit to be able to just reproduce basically the console feeling,
Mm-hmm.
So I do test it there sometimes, but it is time consuming to change it and test every single time,
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just hand it over to my testers. I have somebody that works on Xbox, somebody who works on PlayStation, because PlayStation is the big factor that things really break all the time. For one reason or another, something breaks. And I do have somebody who plays on a lower end Xbox just so they can test it out and see how bad the lag is or if things are actually loading. Mm-hmm. Especially during that whole initially when the custom cosmetics came out that textures weren't loading correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were all blurry and people thought my things looked awful because the graphics just wouldn't adjust to it, but the settings have been fixed with the game now, and people know about the whole r. streaming pool size thing, and they're able to actually see my structures. And one person recently came back to me and was like, I played for like 2 months with your structures and I just thought they looked awful for the longest time. And like somebody told me to put this command in, and I was mind blown by just the marble. It was the marble design that I had, so they were just in love with it. Yeah.
Well, what's that command again, just in case there's anybody who hasn't heard of it?
It's r.streaming.poolsize 0.
Okay.
That's the one I use.
Awesome.
But most of my structures nowadays, I just create them in a certain way, the texture itself, that it's actually produces that quality for everybody instead of having to go in and...
Okay, nice.
I guess it goes back to me basically learning it now for a year and a half, and I've been concentrating on custom cosmetics and skins and structure pieces for so long that I know how to optimize everything. And even other modders reach out to me and like, how do I fix this? How do I make this? And
I've sent a couple to you.
Yeah, there's a couple modders out there. I'm not gonna name names, but I've actually helped them produce a lot of their premium mods, which is fantastic. More people in there are, yes, it might be sales I'm not getting, but at the same time, it's just more stuff for people to come back into the game, which it's also great for just mixing structure sets.
Absolutely.
People create there's like, for example, the sci-fi set that Architector just brought out. That one looks amazing, and it blends really well with Quantum.
See, you shared that a couple of times, the Optimum.
I've helped them with a couple of mods. We kind of started at the same time modding, and I created structures for him, and then I kind of taught him things, and then he's teaching me things for the building maps and stuff like that. So it's a give and take situation, and that's what's great about it. That's what's great about the modding community. That everybody kind of tends to help each other. There's a lot of times that some people are like, "Oh, well, you should already know this," and I'm like, "Well, that's why I'm coming over here to ask, to get your input." And then somebody else comes in and like, "Yes, okay, this is how you do it. This is how you do it." So I guess everybody's different, yes, obviously, but at the same time, like a lot of people have been a lot of help, and then I'm able to commission out to people when I need something, which is great. Just having this input of money coming in because of the premium mods, I'm able to just kind of share it with everybody else,
Yeah, that's awesome. So what's your favorite mod that you didn't make? Your favorite mod by somebody else?
Oh, that's easy. It's the Clingers Rustic Structures.
That's
that's my
mod?
favorite. Yeah, that's my favorite set everywhere. any time of day.
It's a fun one.
Yeah, I've always been a fan. That's kind of how I was like going into structures because of him. A lot of it, he was a big big in the background for it. Like I saw his things and I was like, oh, I wonder if I could ever make something like that, and it just slowly started trickling. Unfortunately, he's not making a lot of stuff nowadays. He just kind of spends all his time fixing stuff that's
structure
the
mods,
issues.
like you were saying, structure mods take more maintenance.
And then he adds things here and there to those mods, so I don't doubt whenever he actually comes out with a new cosmetic, it's going to be great,
Oh
It's
yeah,
just
for
gonna
sure.
go through the roofs in sales. Initially, when I started doing structures, they were like, this doesn't fit the actual vanilla piece. You can't use it, because I had
Mhm.
made like funky shapes and stuff, And
Oh
I was like,
yeah.
oh, this is gonna go well with the. I think I had created like a circle or something originally for
Mm-hmm.
one of the structures, and Wildcard didn't like it. They
Yeah.
were like, it doesn't go, and then one of the pillars, it just didn't go correctly, so they didn't accept it, and I had to go
Mm.
back and redo certain pieces of the mod for
Yeah.
it to actually come out initially.
Since
And
since
and
they have to be
nowadays,
approved on unofficial too and stuff.
yeah. So that, I think that was the idea behind it, that
Mm-hmm.
it has to match the official look for
Mm-hmm.
it to actually be out there. And they've become more lenient about it nowadays, as
Oh, that's good.
as you've seen. Yeah, there's a lot of mods that are kind of just twisting the shapes and doing different things with it, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, they kind of didn't allow me for a while to do I don't know if you've seen it, that I use a pillar as a snap point. So I use the pillar, and then I put windows, I put stuff on like the hanging waterfalls, things like that.
Oh yeah.
And they hang
Uh-huh.
off the
Or the
waterfall.
vines. I love the
Yeah, the
vines that you
vines,
have on
yeah.
the beams. Yeah.
And I use the beams itself as the guide for it, just so it creates that perfect snap point. And
Mm-hmm.
initially they were like, why is this floating? And I'm like, well, I had to record a whole video. If you see this, and this, it does this, and that's the whole idea behind it. And they
Mm-hmm.
were like, okay. And then I started seeing more people start using that same situation, that same setup, and which is great, slowly progressing with what we can do.
That's great. Yeah. Just expanding the possibilities for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. So you don't need to answer this if you don't want to, but how lucrative are premium mods? I've heard that the percentage that they announced originally doesn't actually equate to real life because there's console percentages that
Console
they
fees,
take,
yeah.
stuff like that. Like, how does that work out?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna say a specific number, but
That's fine.
I'm making a lot. I'm
Well,
making a
good.
lot.
Are you doing it full time then now, or?
Yeah, it's full time. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, it's a full time salary for sure. Yeah, more
Hmm.
than that, and it's yes, you do get different shares of each item, just because console, I think it only gives like 220. Um, PC, I think it's higher. It's on the 240 marker, something like that. And then Epic Games takes their cut as well, because we've reached a certain amount of profits from our mods, and they
Mhm.
do still have to take their Unreal Engine fee, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Which is completely understandable. They're providing
Sure.
the actual engine for it. And then Wildcard and CurseForge, Overwolf takes the other half.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's understandable. Everybody needs to get their cut,
Everybody gets their piece.
yeah, everybody gets their piece. Yeah. Like I said, I've been able to hire a lot of people to do different things from the
Mhm.
money that is coming in. So it's quite profitable, honestly. And if anybody
That's
wants to go
awesome.
in to try it, they definitely should.
Hmm.
It is a learning process, and I've taught a couple of people here and there, and they've become, I don't know how lucrative out of it,
Hmm.
but it's doable. And I don't spend the time to teach people anymore, just because there's been a couple of people that I've taught and then they didn't do anything with it, or they
Oh.
didn't give credit because I
Hmm.
taught them, or they're using my template.
Hmm.
So what I do is I give people my template of what I actually do with my skins, so it's easy. They just stick the model in there, and that's all they have to do. Everything, the settings are already adjusted, the height, everything. So
Wow.
so yeah, it's a lot of help for all those people just starting in, for sure. And
Okay. Now, I've heard that when it shows the amounts of downloads, especially for premium cosmetics in the mods list, that's not actually accurate because the number includes like dynamic downloads, not just people who chose to download the mod.
yeah, that's
Is
correct. So
that is correct? Do you have any idea of the percentage? Like, is it like one actual download for every 10 dynamic downloads, or like any kind of an idea of?
it honestly, it varies mod to mod.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it's the dynamic downloads is a big factor in it. But when I actually going through my analytics, and it does show that it's a lot of actual downloads and a lot of actual purchases. I
Mm-hmm.
can actually see the number of purchases that people are doing. I actually get a breakdown of
That's good.
console, and then PC, PlayStation, whatever it is. And then I have another in the dashboard, another setup where I can actually see how many players are actually using my mod that day versus
Oh,
the day
really?
before.
That's
Yeah.
awesome that they can give you that kind of analytics in
That's right. Yeah,
CurseForge.
yeah. You're able to see who's actually not exactly who, but how many people are actually using it and how many people are not. And I think it goes back to the whole the tracking situation that
Mm,
they've
hmm.
been mentioning recently. I don't know a lot about it, but I think that kind of affects it because it's just a way of them knowing, okay, this player is using this mod and
Yeah.
this player is not. And I'm able to guide myself
Hmm.
by that as well, and then I'm able to guide myself by just where do I need to push socials as well.
Hmm.
A lot of the players that I do get, because it also states what country they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the players that I get are from Japan, and a lot of players
Mm-hmm.
are also from the US.
Mm-hmm.
I get a couple players from Brazil, but most of the analytics just show that it's Japan and the US. So I
Hmm.
kind of gauge myself, and I go in and comment on people from Japan, a lot.
Oh,
I don't
that's
know if you've
cool.
noticed yet. And I
Hmm.
try to translate things before I actually commented, but then at the same time, I don't want to mess up and like say
Yeah.
something completely wrong. So
Yeah.
I just put it in English sometimes and I just let them hit the translate button, because
Yeah.
it might work a little better than
It
me
is so
saying
cool
something
that
wrong.
that's in there now. The auto translate option
Yeah,
really opens a lot of doors.
indeed.
Yeah. So, which one of your mods is kind of your favorite? Do you have a favorite among them? I know it's like asking you to pick a favorite child or something, but
Yeah, so my favorite used to be Quantum originally,
Mhm.
but I think my favorite one nowadays is Cozy Cabins.
Mm,
I like the rustic look. That's why I
yeah.
like the clingers so much because I like the
Hmm.
wooden structures. I know a lot of people don't like wooden structures. They like the metal, the modern look, to them, but I like that rustic the lumber pieces.
Yeah, and you've
Yeah.
added more to that mod since it's been released as well,
Yeah.
including the whole new set of the Hobbit structures that you
Yes.
just added as well. Those are a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, and it's I think that's what differentiates me from a lot of modders. Yes, they do add more content or fixes and
Hmm.
things like that, but I add a lot more pieces, into the mod. Versus some modders only have one or two sets. I tend to have 11 to I think Flora Moderna had 18, something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
and you've got skins for everything, all of
Yeah.
them, even like the half pillars and the quarter roofs and all of the things are in there.
Yeah, and then the reason that I have a couple of different decoration ones are because the I'm limited into how many pieces I can, well, not how many pieces I can put into each item, like the decor box. I
Hmm.
don't want to put too many pieces because then people are just switching and switching
And
and
you have to
switching each time they
scroll
want.
through, yeah.
So I end up creating a new set that is already has 5 specific ones.
Yeah.
Well, Sandy had to go suddenly to deal with an IRL situation, so he didn't get a chance to say goodbye. But now we're going to take a sneak peek at his new cosmetic set, Astral, which will be coming out in a couple of weeks. He was going to show me around himself, but unfortunately today he has a migraine, so it will be a self-guided tour. There will be video, of course, for those who are watching on YouTube, but for those listening to the podcast, I'll do my best to describe it. It is absolutely incredible. It looks like an actual space station, even cooler than a real life space station. The colors of it are black and white and like a shimmery, iridescent, holographic blue and purple. And there's a wide variety in finishes and textures. There's pieces that look striped. There's glass that is semi-translucent but glows and kind of has ripples across the pattern. The windows that have the glowing outline. It's absolutely just blows me away how stunning this is. There's some sci-fi looking bright blue metal along with the shiny black and white. And even the shiny black and white furniture and whatnot, if you look closely and you have your settings up, you can see signs of wear and scratching on them. It just makes it look so much more real. This is absolutely incredible and stunning. This build was done by Breenie, so I'll be linking her channel down below. Make sure to check her out. She's an incredible, incredible builder. There is also pieces that you can use to skin walls and ceilings to give give you an outer space backdrop, and the way they're coded, it is continuous. No matter how many walls you put together, it gives a 3D effect, and you don't really see the lines in between them. And there are also skins for deco boxes that look like planets, big actual round planets. There's also skins for all the different crafting stations and storage boxes and everything. And they all have custom, unique models. You can tell that Sandi worked really hard on this, or whoever he hired. And it is blowing me away how beautiful this is. I cannot wait to get my hands on this myself and do some experimenting with this set. And now I'll be answering some questions that viewers left in the comments on various videos. And here we have a question from XXV Equalizer 9826. This is on my video, by the way, about the host tether on non-dedicated, where I explain why the host tether exists, why it is a thing on non-dedicated playthroughs. Equalizer says, PS5 has more range than PC though. PS5 was 250, PC is 175. So this kind of makes no sense. Me and my cousin have the exact same PC with 32 gigabytes of RAM and a 4060 8 gigabyte VRAM. So it should be enough. No, other games are RAM heavy as well, but don't have this problem. I'm not sounding mad. Sorry if I do, but it has been frustrating for years and I just found out about this video. Yeah, the thing is, it's complicated. If the range has changed though, if PS5 has more range now, I hadn't heard that it did, but that's good that they're experimenting with allowing different lengths to the tether. That tells me that it may be possible that they are, they're testing different things so that hopefully they can bring back the ability to at least adjust the length of the tether. And also, I'm not sure where in the world you are. I don't know if this is feet or meters or what. Last time I tested though, I was getting 1,000 meters on PC. So if it's this limited, I'm sure that is extremely frustrating. But no other game is quite like Ark. That's part of the issue. You've got to realize that Ark has more moving pieces than any other game that I'm aware of, at least. No other game has almost 200 different kinds of creatures on the same map, each with their own different animations, behaviors, interactions with each other. That's what makes Ark feel so alive and so different. If you play Valheim, for example, which is an awesome game and I love it, but every deer in Valheim feels the same as every other deer. They don't feel like individuals. In Ark, with the different stats and colors, they feel individual. And every area in Valheim will only have maybe 5 or 6 different types of mobs at most, and they don't really interact with each other. You don't see the wolves attacking the deer, for example, or the deer responding differently if they have babies nearby or other deer nearby. Ark can easily have 25 different species in one area, all interacting differently with each other and with the environment. All of that kind of stuff takes crazy amounts of RAM. And they can't design the game just with people who have the best equipment in mind. They have to try to design it so that hopefully it will work even on the minimum specs machines. Could it be better optimized? Heck yeah. And over time, it has been getting better, and hopefully it will continue to do so. I mean, after ASE had been in development for several years, they were able to allow the freedom to adjust the tether so much that it was almost like it was entirely gone. You could adjust it so far that people could be on opposite sides of the map from each other, which was awesome. I don't think you could go into caves separately, though. So, I mean, the tether still did exist. There were still some limitations, but not nearly as much as it is right now with ASA. But, we all know that ASA isn't very well optimized. It's getting better, though. It definitely does seem to be getting better. But my main point in this video is just that there is a reason for why the tether exists. And it's a technical reason. It isn't because the developers are stupid or haven't thought of the genius idea of, maybe we shouldn't have a tether, or that the devs think it's a good feature that people like or something like that. It's a compromise. And like most compromises, nobody is really happy with the result. But it does make it possible to play the game in its current state in locally hosted online multiplayer. Without it, the only choices would be single player or on dedicated servers. And also, the game is optimized differently for PS5 because a console is basically a crappy computer with a simplified interface. Sorry, console players. The graphics aren't as good on PlayStation, but it is in general more stable because it has to be to pass certification with Sony. Sony doesn't like early access games, they don't like mods, and they really don't like games that crash a lot. That's why things come out on PlayStation last, usually, because it takes so long to pass certification with Sony. PC users are used to having more options. We're used to being able to adjust graphics and settings on our own. And Steam has no cert process. That's why most early access games come to Steam first, because Steam is the wild, wild west. If you buy a crap game that doesn't work, you return it and leave a bad review. But you still have the freedom to buy it and try it. If you mess around with settings and you break your game, well, that's your own damn fault. As a lifetime PC user who's never owned a console, seriously, I don't have the nostalgia and warm feelings about them that most console players have. I know it's a hot take and probably a very unpopular opinion, but to me, from where I'm standing, it really seems like Steam treats us like adults and gives us freedom, and Sony and Microsoft act like nannies or helicopter parents who are afraid of you breaking stuff. So they put baby gates around everything and supervise you constantly and wring their hands over every little hiccup or bump. And they only let you play with toys that they choose to let you play with. Don't even get me started on Nintendo. You buy their console, you're stuck in their ecosystem. No thanks. I'll keep my freedom, thanks. Even if it means that because there is such a wide variety of possible settings that people could be using on PC, that sometimes when they're trying to narrow down the causes of crashes and they're trying to optimize the game overall, it means that they have to do things like remove the ability to adjust the length of the tether so that they take out one variable to try to simplify the bug fixing process. My understanding, what I've been told, is that that's why the ability to adjust the length of the tether is gone for now. It probably will come back, but the tether itself will probably never completely go away. If you want to know more about why, I explain why in this video. I'll link it up above on YouTube here or in the description. So here we have a question from the one true Jimmer 952. This is a comment on my video, Stop Breaking Your Mods, about how to download and update mods properly so they are less likely to break the files. So Jim said here, I have a serious issue. I'm in a server that makes you have mods. They were broken, so I manually downloaded the mods and updated them, as the video shows how to do, so they were no longer broken. Now I have mods in my installed mods list that I've never even installed. I remove all the mods and reinstall only the ones that I have to have. As soon as I log back in the next day, a new stack of mods I never installed is showing up in my menu. WTF is going on because it is locking up my console. All right. So what is going on, Jim, is other people's custom cosmetics. So custom cosmetics are really cool. They are an amazing feature of ASA. But here, let me show you about this. Custom cosmetics are a special type of mod that did not exist in Ark Survival Evolved. This is new for Ark Survival Ascended. And what makes them different from regular mods is that these are mods that only need to be installed client side, so only by the end users. The actual player who wants to use them can install them. But I mean, it's no fun if you're the only one who can see the cool cosmetics you downloaded, right? So in order for other people to be able to see those cosmetics without having downloaded them themselves, it downloads a little piece of each of those cosmetic mods into their side as well. just enough to let them be able to see your cosmetics. So, I mean, this happens to me all the time too. Like, I can go through my mod list here, which I am testing out a bunch of mods like I always do. So I have 18 pages of mods right now. Most people hopefully do not have quite that many to go through here. But just the other day I was going through and I saw some custom cosmetics that I don't use. I left them because I know that I have friends who use them. And so I didn't want to have to keep uninstalling them. But you see, these are on my list. This Gigantoraptor chibi skin, this Clifton's the Stag armor set, this Crimson Assassin armor set, Crusader Knight custom cosmetic. I don't use those, but I have friends who use them, friends that I play on servers with. So that's why they're on my installed mods list, but they don't have this little blue installed tag on them. These are all custom cosmetics that I only have them kind of partially installed because of that. Now, in order to remove them, if you're having issues with space, you can just click on it and go in, and it's kind of a pain. They should just have an uninstall button, but you have to click install and then click uninstall. Currently, that's the only way to do it. And then I go back and see it's off of my list. It's no longer there. And I can do that again here, but that doesn't solve all the problems because unfortunately, that doesn't work if they are premium cosmetics. Premium cosmetics are ones, of course, that people have paid for. Oh, here's another free one that I can uninstall. Install, uninstall. There we go. Now that one's gone. I have a few mods that I also need to update, but I'll come back and do that later. But if there's a premium cosmetic, I don't know that I play with anybody who has premium cosmetics I don't have. It's kind of a hazard of being a YouTuber who specializes in testing and showcasing mods that I have a lot of premium mods. So I don't think I have any currently like that. But if you have one showing up that it's a premium mod, like, you know, this one's not cosmetic though. That's a matte mod. This is a premium mod though. So if you have a friend, for example, who had this, and so it's showing up on your list, but it's not installed, you can't install it without buying it. But under the current system, you can't uninstall a premium mod without buying it first, which is silly because, I mean, why should I have to buy it to get rid of it? I'm sure that somebody didn't think this through as a side effect of premium mods. You still can get rid of it if it is causing problems for you, but it's a pain. You have to either go here and go to uninstall all mods, which is a nightmare because then you have to reinstall all the mods you actually want. So if you do end up going that route, learn from my mistakes. And before you click that button, go through and either screenshot, write a note on your phone, write an actual paper list if you need to, but make a list somewhere of all the mods that you had installed. Because if you uninstall all mods and then are trying to remember what ones you had installed, if you're anything like me, you'll forget one. And then especially if you're playing on single player or something, you'll end up logging in without that mod installed. And then all of the stuff associated with that mod in your save will go poof and you will be sad and it will be a bad day. So don't do that. Make a list first, just to be safe. Make a list of the mods that you have so that you'll know which ones to search for and reinstall if you go this route, which if you're on console, it's really your only choice, sadly. On PC, you can dig into the files and find the folder associated with that premium mod and delete that by itself so that you don't have to do this, but it is a pain and it does require digging into the files, which not everybody feels comfortable doing, but it isn't that complicated necessarily. I believe I've got a walkthrough in the FAQ section on my Discord where I've got a lot of like technical help and questions and answers type stuff. So yeah, check that out if that's something that you would like to take a look at. But anyway, that's why you have mods showing up that you did not choose. And that's also why, even after you've deleted them, after you get back on the server and play for a while and get out and check it, they're back again. Well, that's because your friends are using them or other people that you're seeing on that server are using them. But there is a way to still prevent this from happening. So what you can do is you just need to go to settings right here and go to advanced settings. And over here on the right-hand side, disable cosmetics dynamic downloading. That is what you need to turn on. And then it won't do this kind of behind the scenes background downloading of mods when you're not aware that they're being downloaded. Side effect is you won't be able to see other people's cool cosmetics. If they're wearing some kind of costume, you won't be able to see that. You'll just see whatever base game armor they're wearing underneath that. If they use some kind of cool cosmetics and their base looks completely sci-fi, you won't know unless you have downloaded the cosmetic pack they used. It'll just look like regular stone and wood and everything else. But it can save you a lot of space. And so I do recommend people on console to do this. It is a really good idea if you're running into issues to go ahead and do this. And then just if you play regularly with people who are using particular custom cosmetics, then you can choose to go and download those so you can see their custom cosmetics. You know, if your friend has a costume that they always like to wear or something, you might choose to go download that. So anyway, that is what that is about. And I responded to that effect on the original YouTube comment, and the one true Jim responded, "Did it? Thank you. The problem is solved. Here's my next question. Why, for the love of God, is that option a shut off requirement instead of an activation requirement? Is there any others that a greenhorn might want to shut off while I'm in the advanced settings to save me and you time?" Laughing face. And as I told Jim, I am working on a video on the advanced settings. I've been working on it for a couple of months, but other more urgent projects keep coming up and pushing it to the back burner. Eventually that video will get done and will be published. The thing is, the reason why I think that it is by default the game does allow dynamic downloading is because this is a feature that is really cool that a lot of people love in ASA. And I mean, they're advertising custom cosmetics packs all the time in the mod showcase that they release every week. If people were never running into other people seeing, wearing cosmetics on the official servers or other servers, if they weren't seeing these things all the time, they'd be less likely to buy them. They'd be less likely to use them. And yes, money is a factor. I mean, studios have to make money. People have bills to pay. Premium modders also, I mean, they make these things in their free time and they want to be able to sell their mods too. And even the free ones, people want to see their work in use, And it is fun to get to see the wide variety of cosmetics that people use. And the thing is, if it was the default setting, then the vast majority of people never go into the advanced settings menu at all. And so most people would have it off. And so most people would go their merry arc way and never see custom cosmetics ever, unless it was something they downloaded themselves. And that wouldn't be very much fun. But I agree that there definitely are problems with the current system that need to be fixed. Like, for one thing, we need an uninstall button. We need an uninstall button that doesn't require installing it first. That's first and foremost. We just need an uninstall button, especially for premium mods. So it was at this point in answering the questions that I decided to try to illustrate for someone how to fix a broken file error. And so I tried to reproduce the broken file error in the first place so that I could show how to fix it. And I wasn't able to reproduce it. I did a whole bunch of testing and wasn't able to break a file. So I got on my Discord and I asked other people to try testing this for me. And nobody of the 5 or 6 who were on late at night and were able to hop on and try, nobody was able to get a file to break. So I reached out to Sandi and Nakatas, both modders who had mentioned previously that this was an issue that people were bringing up to them on their Discords all the time about broken file errors. They were getting these reports multiple times a day. And Sandi told me he hadn't had a report on this for at least 2 or 3 days. Nikotis thought it had been even longer, possibly a couple of weeks since he'd had the last broken file error report. So I don't know for sure. I dug through the patch notes, both for Wildcard and also for CurseForge. Could not find any reports of anything like them fixing this, but it does seem like it's been fixed potentially. Anyway, I did make a separate video on that because I was so shocked about it. I couldn't wait for this episode to come out. And so I have my genuine reaction to that and talking about the issue in another video I'll link here. But let's move on to the next question for now. So, wow. I did not know that today would be the day that such a long-standing bug would be fixed. But it is this day. It is a good day, my friends. It is a good day. Now let's move on to the next question here. Wow, I don't get through these questions very fast. This was about my video that I did about the tether setting. The fact that months ago, over a year ago now, I think, Wildcard removed the option to adjust the length of the host tether in non-dedicated. I have a video about that. I have 2 videos about that now, actually, about why the host tether exists, some things that you can do with it, some workarounds. You can't make it go away completely, though. The only way to play with no tether at all is to play on a dedicated server. So yeah, as this person says, Real GTZ says, short outcome from all this, rent a server. That's one fix for it. But you don't have to rent a server. You just have to play on a dedicated server. But it doesn't have to be your server. You don't have to rent it yourself. You can play on somebody else's dedicated server. You can play on the official network of dedicated servers. There are tons of communities out there that are open for people to join that are awesome dedicated server communities. There's a lot of YouTubers, including myself, who have their own server communities too that people can join. Some are free, some are paid. Mine is for my channel members, so like as little as $3 a month. Aaron Longstaff has a bunch and his are free. The Monarchy has some. Theirs don't run all the time, though. It's only when they're doing one of their seasons that they run one for a couple of months. There's options out there. On my Discord, I even have a section. You can tell my Discord is my hub. This is where I put all of the good info. There's a channel in there for people to advertise their own servers that are looking for more players. No matter what type of server you like, no matter what way you like to play, I'm sure there's a server out there that you'll like. If you like PvP, if you like PvE, if you want a grindy survival experience that's very close to official, they have that. If you want something that's super duper boosted, then there's lots of servers like that too. If you want to try an overhaul mod like Primal Nemesis, if you want a whole bunch of dino mods on there, there's so many awesome unofficial servers that you can hop on and join, and then you can play without a tether for free without renting your own server. If you do want to rent your own servers so that you can have control over all the settings and the mods and everything, which is completely valid, I do also have videos on how to set up your Nitrado server if you rent one from Nitrado. And I do have a code for Nitrado that if you use my link, it helps the channel, and I appreciate that very much. But that's not the only option by far. And joining a server community can be a great way to make friends as well. I mean, that's how I met most of my friends that I still play Ark with 3 years later, is I met them in an unofficial server community where we played together, and it was awesome. So yeah, there's options. Whether you want to run a server yourself or don't, there's options. You don't have to play with a tether. Even if there's just one other person you want to play with, the two of you together can join a different server community. Some are really quiet and nobody's going to bug you, and you'll be left alone and you wouldn't even know that it wasn't your own server. And some are really busy, and there'll be plenty of community and people to help you out if you get yourself into a death spiral, and people to do breeding exchanges with, like, hey, I tamed an awesome Rex. Do you have a Rex that I could breed mine with? There's all kinds of different servers. So yeah, check that out. Try a few, see what you like. So this question from Z Video Edits says, hey, Songbird, I've been hunting around and found some vague answers so far, but was curious about the whole difficulty process. This was on my video about settings for noobs in single player. PS5, I've been playing for a few weeks now on single player. I recently found out that you have to change the difficulty in order to get higher level dinos to spawn in. That is correct, and I explain it in that video. My questions are, can I now change my single player difficulty mid-game? And if so, will this delete any of my current progress, like camp build, resources and tames, etc.? And the answer to that is you can change the difficulty or settings at any time, and no, it should not delete any of your current progress. But you won't start to see any of those new higher level dinos unless you do a dino wipe, which I have another short video on how to do that. You can tell that what generally happens is I try to answer all the questions that are asked in my comment sections, because that's how I learn what the community needs, what people are wondering about, what questions people have. But if I get tired of answering the same question over and over and over, that's when I make a video. And so then after that, I'll say, watch that video. Watch that video where I answered that question. Okay, so yes, you do a dino wipe after changing the settings so that you'll clear the map of the low-level ones and you can start to see some of the higher-level ones spawning in. Okay, so this person is being somewhat confrontational, but they are expressing an opinion that I've seen over and over and over for the past 2.5 years since ASA came out, and probably even before that in ASE. This is a comment on my video, The Host Tether, Why Does This Exist? And I explain in depth in there. And this person, Looking Glass 2022, said, it was removed because they don't want pirates to be able to enjoy playing with friends. It has nothing to do with performance or any of that garbage. These people only want your money and don't really care all that much about the quality of their title, only that it's functioning the way they want it to function, which is literally what almost every game title to date is doing, which is locking down games through the internet. You literally cannot play most multiplayer games without an internet connection. Wake up, gamers. You will own nothing and be happy. Klaus Schwab. One thing I want to reply to first, which is you literally cannot play most multiplayer games without an internet connection. How would you play a multiplayer game without an internet connection? You can still set up, I'm pretty sure, like you can set up a LAN, connect your computers via cables or something old-fashioned like that if you're trying to play in multiplayer with somebody who's in the same house as you. But other than playing with somebody in the same house as you, if you're going to play multiplayer, how is that going to work if you're not on the internet? Like, how is the information supposed to get back and forth if it's not on the internet? You can play Ark without an internet connection. You just have to play it in single player. That's it. In fact, Ark is a lot better than so many other games that are locking down their games and you will own nothing and be happy and all of that. They're not doing that. You can play Ark without a internet connection. In fact, and this is kind of what I've done, I never updated my ASE when Aquatica came out. I'm still running whatever the old version was that didn't get broken, along with whatever mods I had downloaded. And I'm not planning on updating it. I don't want them to break my game. I can now play ASE offline without being updated, of course. But I can play that for as long as I have a computer that'll run it. They're not taking it away from me. But about the other accusations in this, okay? This is something to understand, which is Wildcard, Studio Wildcard, and even Snail Games, their publisher, get nothing from you renting a server or not renting a server. Nitrado, who rents out the servers, is a completely separate company, one that Snail owes money to. Snail pays them to rent the servers in the official network. They're not paying Snail money. Snail is paying them. This accusation just doesn't really make sense. I agree that Snail doesn't care about anything but money. They've made that abundantly clear for years and years and years about every game they've ever touched, not just Ark. In fact, Ark is the exception. every other game they've ever touched, they've just gotten a bunch of money out of it real quick, and then they've abandoned it and broke it and didn't care about it anymore. Ark is different. Ark has been going for 10 years and still is an awesome game to this day, with its problems, sure, but it's still an awesome game. And the reason why it's different from Snail's other games is Studio Wildcard. That's the reason why. So don't put them in the same pot. Don't think that they're the same thing. Snail is the parent company. Snail did buy Studio Wildcard back in 2015. This is not a recent thing. For as long as you've been playing Ark, unless you played for the first 6 months that it released, for as long as you've been playing Ark, Snail has owned Ark, the IP. Well, and they've owned Studio Wildcard. But here's the thing. When one company buys another company, they can put in the contract limitations on the sale. And those documents are private. We don't have access to them in the public. But I've seen other contracts between other studios and their publishers, like the recent situation with Subnautica. I'm not going to go into that here, but there were limitations put on the sale. Subnautica, the parent company, was not allowed to fire the original developers of the game. They tried to do so, even though the contract said they couldn't. And now it's a big lawsuit and a big mess. But the fact that that's a thing that is possible tells me that I would bet dollars to donuts, as they say. I would bet that that's what's going on between Snail and Wildcard, because we all know that Snail is greedy, doesn't care about anything but money, and the CEO of Snail is an idiot who wastes money on stupid financial endeavors and is surrounded by a bunch of yes men and people who are afraid to stand up to them. So the fact that Studio Wildcard has time and time again stood up to them, they were wanting to put microtransactions in Ark clear back in like 2016, 2017. The Studio Wildcard fought against them. They fought the good fight against Snail on microtransactions for years and years and years and years, and then finally found a way to, okay, add some microtransactions just in the form of these premium mods, but it's nothing like what Snail wanted. Snail wanted to have a structure that you could buy. Yeah, this is something that I heard from some other, I heard it through the grapevine, I guess, as it were. Snail was wanting there to be a tech shield that you could buy that would have to be paid for by the month. Every month you'd have to pay more money. And if you paid for this tech shield on official servers, then your base would be completely unrateable because you were under your nice paid shield. And Studio Wildcard said, no, F that, absolutely not. That would completely break PvP. And have there always been problems with PvP? Yes. And part of those, as came out a few years ago in a big scandal, was the fact that the CEO of Snail or family members of his were actually playing official PvP and cheating and breaking the terms of service and selling things for real money. And yeah, that's a massive mess. And that's probably a big part of the problems that were existing in official PvP for a very long time. But I mean, what's Wildcard supposed to do about that? Like, it's one thing to stand up when it comes to the development of the game, because that's Wildcard's department. They are the game development studio. And I don't know for sure. I haven't seen the documents, but I'm guessing that in the contract, basically whatever contract that they signed when they sold the game, when they sold out to Snail, which they had to do because they were facing bankruptcy, they kept some level of creative control to themselves. That's the only explanation that I can see for the current situation. Otherwise, Snail would have fired Jeremy and Jesse years ago. They would have been long gone. And Wildcard would be just full of yes men as well. And basically every DLC ever released to Ark would be as bad as Aquatica. That's what would happen if Snail and Wildcard were really the same. The fact that they're not, that Aquatica was such a joke and a scandal, just highlights the difference between them. We're used to a much higher level of quality than what we saw with Aquatica because Wildcard works really hard and cares about what they do and puts a lot of time and creativity into their game. Does it still have problems? Yes, they work on those, but it is still the coolest game that I've ever played. And it is still a very unique game in all kinds of different ways. And it is still a game that part of the reason why it's so complicated and keeps breaking and has so many bugs is it's got more moving parts than any other game. It is a complicated game with all of the different dynamics and all of the different creatures and systems and the building and all of the different things that are in there. There's a lot that could potentially interact or break or go wrong. But it's still awesome. In spite of all the problems, it's still awesome. And most of the people being the most negative about it and saying, oh no, it's a terrible crap game. You should never play it. I notice most of those are people playing Unofficial. And so to those people, I would say, yes, the game sucks on Official, but you don't have to play it on Official. You really don't. Unofficial's where the fun is at. There's lots of amazing, awesome, fun unofficial servers that you can join. You don't have to play Unofficial. And if it's making you cranky, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe it's not being good for your mental health, and we all need to take care of our mental health. Personally, I am of the opinion that the only people who play Unofficial either, and I'm sorry if this is kind of a hot take, but either they are young, still live with their parents, and don't have to work a full-time job, don't have a family. They're people that have time for the game to be their life. If you want to have a life outside of Ark, if you want to have some kind of balance and go out and touch grass every now and then and have relationships with people in real life, then you don't have time to play Unofficial. I mean, at least not for years at a time. Unofficial is just so much more fun. And you can play casually if you want to, or you can join a grindy PvP server if you want to. Or if you just like PvP, but you don't want to deal with the grind, join a Fibercraft PvP server. There's all different kinds, but you don't have to put up with that official crap. So anyway, that's my hot take. And yes, I know that answering questions always gets me ranting, but it is what it is. So I think it is obvious that Wildcard cares about the game. Yeah, this is another one on kind of the same notes. You can tell I went off in the comments on this person as well, which, that's part of the reason I'm including this in the video, is so I'll stop spending my time doing this kind of thing. Pumpkin Problem says, I'm a firm believer that they took our ability to adjust the tether distance to our liking away because they want to force even those of us who only play Ark with a few of our friends on non-dedicated servers into buying those expensive garbage Nitrato servers. 4 of us bought the game and 4 of us abandoned it and went back to Evolve because non-dedicated is unplayable with friends unless you can max the tether distance to the map size. Which, by the way, you couldn't always do that in ASE either, ASE's been out for 10 years. They've had a long time to fix the bugs and issues with it. ASA, they're still working on those kinds of things. The problem is, we joke all the time about, they said they'd rewrite the code from scratch and we have the same bugs, a lot of the same bugs. Well, the problem is a lot of these things took complicated fixes to figure out in the first place. And then by starting over from scratch, rewriting all the code, the person who originally figured out the fix to that bug probably wasn't the person who rewrote that chunk of code for the new version. And they might not even work there anymore. And so now they've got to reinvent the wheel and go through and figure out how to fix that same bug again. It's not necessarily that, they just copied everything over. Maybe they did. I don't know. It's a completely different engine. I don't know how easy it is to copy stuff over like that. But regardless, if they're just trying to rebuild the same thing from scratch, but they don't know what somebody did wrong the first time around to cause a bug, and so they don't know to avoid doing whatever random little interaction it was that caused that, because of course bugs are never obvious, then there's a very high likelihood that they'll unintentionally cause the same bug again, and then have to find it again, and then have to fix it again. And so yeah, writing all the code from scratch is not necessarily going to fix everything for any kind of program. But anyway, as I responded, that doesn't make any sense at all because Wildcard develops the game and they get absolutely nothing from people renting a Nitrado server. Nitrado has an exclusivity deal with Snail because of lending Snail $4 million when Snail was close to bankruptcy because their idiot CEO spent money on stupid crap, spent the money that they earned from ARK on completely stupid, harebrained schemes, which would be illegal to do in the US, I believe, to take money from one business endeavor and just use it in a completely separate business endeavor. The guy wanted to become China's Elon Musk or something and was trying to invent an electric car, like some crazy thing that had nothing to do with ARK. I don't think you're allowed to do that here, but, he's in a different country. The rules are different, I guess. But Nitrado is a separate multinational organization. They're based in Germany. Big companies don't lend each other money out of the goodness of their hearts. Nitrado lent money to Snail Games, which, Snail USA is headquartered in the US, but Snail USA is owned by the parent company, Snail Games, whatever, which is based in China. Nitrado was willing to lend them that money in exchange for the exclusivity deal. They had to get something in exchange. They're not just going to give them the money just to be nice. That's not what corporations do. It only means nobody else gets to rent out ASA servers, but nobody else gets the money for those servers other than Nitrado, though. Yeah. So somebody else responded, Songbird Gaming, actually, you are wrong. They had a contract with Nitrado. Last I knew, it was several $1 billion. Just saying. Yes, all these things grow and grow in the telling as it goes through the chain, just like a game of telephone. The story keeps growing and growing. It was $4 million, not several billion. And it was because Snail was close to bankruptcy and had not paid their hosting bills. Snail Games rents all the servers in the official server network from Nitrado. Those are all Nitrado servers. And they had not paid their bills for hosting the official network for ASE back then for several months. And they were over $1 million in debt to Nitrado already. And they were facing bankruptcy because of the idiot CEO wasting money on other stuff. So this came out back in autumn of 2023. Nitrado made them an offer to extend their debt as well as loaning them an additional $3 million. So basically loaning them $4 million to finish ASA, but on the condition that 1, they get the exclusive hosting rights to ASA servers, and 2, ASA had to come out, at least on PC, by October 31st, 2023. Some ARK creators did some excellent detective work and found this document where this was discussed, because Snail USA is publicly traded now, and so things like this have to be made public. Back when Snail bought Wildcard, I don't believe they were publicly traded at that time, and so that's why that contract is not public. But anyway, and so they made this deal. Snail and Nitrado made this deal. Wildcard, the ones who actually make the game, they were not party to the discussion. They were not given a choice in the matter. They were just told that this is the case. Because Snail is their publisher. Essentially, Snail's holding the purse strings. Snail pays the bills. Snail handles the money. Wildcard develops the game. But, there is a relationship here. Snail needs to pay the bills in order for Wildcard to be able to develop the game. People have to pay their rent and stuff. And so they were told by Snail, last minute, of course, that, oh, by the way, you have to release ASA on the PC at least by Halloween this year, just a few months away. The contract said that if they made that deadline, then Snail had to pay Nitrado a percentage of the proceeds from ASA until all the money was paid back with interest. If they missed that deadline, then if ASA had not come out by Halloween 2023, then Snail would have to pay a percentage of the proceeds of everything in the entire ARK franchise including the animated series, including potentially Arc 2, including anything else that they did with the Arc franchise until that money was paid back. And so Wildcard didn't have a choice in the matter. They had to try to do this, even though that meant the game came out rushed and not in the kind of finished state we would have liked to have seen. They had to do that. But you'll notice in this contract, the money is flowing in one direction here. Nitrado is not paying Snail. Snail is paying Nitrado. Snail is taking a portion of the proceeds from ASA and paying Nitrado. Nitrado's not paying them anything. Nitrado already gave them money when they lent them $4 million. So that's why this accusation doesn't make sense to me. This accusation that I've seen over and over and over and over and over, that, oh, the reason why they make a non-dedicated suck is to try to force you to rent a server from Nitrado. They get nothing if you rent a server from Nitrado. Makes no difference to Wildcard or Snail. They don't get anything from that. You can play on the official network for free. I mean, and that actually costs them more money because, you know, more players, they have to host more servers. They have to pay for more servers to be rented. So Wildcard was put in the position of being forced to finish the game on a tighter deadline because of a contract they didn't even make. So that's why ASA was so unfinished and didn't release for all platforms at the same time, which they had wanted to do. But it takes time to get through certification with Sony and Microsoft. That always takes extra time. Steam doesn't have certification. That's why things always come out on Steam first. It's not that anybody's playing favorites. It's just that they literally can release it on Steam whenever they think it's ready, and nobody is telling them, oh no, you have to fix this and that, and you have to make it more stable in this way, and oh, you need to change this thing we don't like, and whatever. They don't have anybody else forcing them to pass certification in order to get published on Steam. So yeah, anyway, so the person responded, yeah, I'm not reading all of that. So yes, my friends, this is why ignorance spreads, because people make claims and then they won't even read a viewpoint that educates them on why their point of view doesn't make sense. So yeah, such is life on the internet in 2025. So anyway, I think that's all the questions for now. And now it's time for some feather-brained musings from the Songbird nest. There's still a little bit of a stigma about being an adult who plays video games. That's silly. Games are a far healthier hobby than watching TV, for example. TV is something you passively consume. Games are interactive. You're solving problems, doing stuff, learning. And here's the thing. I believe in you. So peck the like button, drop a purple heart in the comments if you've listened to this point, and here's your pep talk for the week. There are people in your life who need you. You need to level up for yourself and for them so you can make a difference, and so you can make a difference for people you haven't even met yet. Because here's some truth. You matter. The world needs you. The world is better with you in it. You might feel overwhelmed sometimes, like a kid cosplaying as an adult, terrified of the future. I know because I feel that way too, almost every day. Gaming tends to attract people who feel like this, I think, because it lets us escape our reality. And sometimes we need that for our own mental health. We need a break, an adventure, a feeling of accomplishment, to laugh with friends, to play, to have that sense of curiosity, that drive to explore, to create something cool. All of that is deeply important, part of what makes us human. But we can't stay there in the gaming world. But what I've learned is I can take those good feelings, those endorphins, that confidence, the feeling of accomplishment and curiosity and joy that I get from gaming, I can carry that into my real life. I can approach my real life problems in a similar way to how I approach problems in ARC. How do we solve problems in ARC? We try different things. We talk to others, find out what they do. I try to think about the problem differently sometimes to see if I can approach it from a different perspective, different point of view. We may take breaks sometimes, we may even rage quit at times, but we don't give up. We keep coming back. That's why the name for the player in Ark lore is the one who tries again. Did you know that? The glowing lady in the beginning cutscene of the island on ASA, she's known as the one who waits. The player is the one who tries again. Because that's what we do. We die a lot, but we respawn and try again. In real life, we don't get a chance to respawn. We just have the one life. But we can try things. We can learn from others. We can try, look at how that solution worked or didn't work, adjust what we're doing, and try again. I have this piece of art that I made years ago that I love. It doesn't really look like anything amazing or all that special. I'll show it on the screen for those watching the video. I was going through an abstract art phase. Abstract art is fun because it's like therapy for a recovering control freak like me. You have to let go of control and just play. Just try things. See how they turn out. See what the paints do. How the colors look when you combine them in various ways or using various methods. Anyway, I liked the colors of this one, but the actual design was kind of blah. So I ended up using it as a background and putting some words on it. Something I had heard recently and wanted to remember. And it worked. Now that this is on a piece of art in my house, I see it and think about this often. Whenever I need to make a change, whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed, I take a deep breath and say it to myself. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. You are enough. This is so important. I don't know about you, but at least for me, I have this tendency to be all or nothing, 100 miles an hour or sitting still. If I don't know how to do something perfectly, I obsessively research it or don't want to do it at all. If I need to change something, then I try to change everything all at once. Is anyone else like this? Like, I get sick of the mess around me and want to get organized, so I get inspired and I go out and buy a bunch of organizing stuff in bins and watch videos on organizing methods, and before you know it, I'm exhausted, in the middle of an even bigger mess, since now there's also all these bins and organizers. I'm broker than I was before and no closer to my goal. Or I decide I need to lose weight, so I try to live on 800 calories a day and run out and get a gym membership or some new workout clothes, and it's just not sustainable. So since I learned this mantra, now I resist that impulse. I don't allow myself to buy anything for whatever new project or goal or hobby or whatever that I'm excited about right now. Not right away. I have to start right where I am. What can I do now, right here, without buying anything? Well, I may need more storage, but I could start by just throwing away the actual trash, right? I don't need to buy anything to do that. I could start by taking 5 minutes to take my dishes to the kitchen and load the dishwasher. Instead of reaching for a bag of chips, I can make myself an actual meal, fix a sandwich or something. Or I can reach for an apple or a carrot. I can drink a glass of water before I let myself open a snack. I can walk around the block while I'm waiting for my mods to update. I can take a little step right here, right now to get started. Because you have to start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, because you are enough. You are enough. You can do this, my friends. And you must, because the world needs you. The people in your life need you. You need you. So go on out there and make your mama bird proud.